Official. Enzo Maresca is gone. What really went down in the Chelsea dressing room? Is Trent's Real Madrid career already finished? Which Premier League club is he coming back to after Spain turned sour? Dream come true? Barcelona signed Bernardo Silva on a free. João Cancelo is back in Europe. Which top side actually took the gamble on the Portuguese? All that and loads more in today's video. Smash that like button and let's dive into the freshest transfer rumors. Juventus have gone full predator mode, and they're after the biggest prize they could possibly aim for, Sandro Tonali. Word from Fichajes is the old ladies' bosses aren't just interested, they're absolutely raging for this transfer. They need it to happen. Why the panic? Because in Turin, they've finally opened their eyes and seen the cold, hard truth. This Juventus side is badly missing proper power and bottle. Midfield's got a massive hole in it. None of that ironclad solidity they used to be famous for. Tonali is literally the perfect fit. He can single-handedly lock down the back door and run the entire midfield by himself. Exactly the kind of player Juve just don't have right now. Let's not kid ourselves. Sandro is having an absolute blinder at Newcastle. Turned up and hit the ground running, straight in at the top level. First name on Eddie Howe's team sheet every single week. Lad's 25, bang in his peak, best years ahead of him. Juventus genuinely believe this is the right time for him to come home and take on a new challenge back in Italy. They're ready to chuck absolutely stupid money at it, about 100 million euros. They want the deal done yesterday. 100 million sounds mega, enough to make anyone blink. But hang on a minute, who are we actually dealing with here? Newcastle United, club backed by one of the richest outfits on earth. 100 million to them is literally nothing, pocket change. They've got no reason whatsoever to sell their best players just to keep the books tidy. Trying to talk the Saudi owners into letting a cornerstone go for cash? You're having a laugh. It's not happening. They've got proper ambition, the team's scrapping for Europe, and they're building something that can go right up against the European big boys. Tonali is the absolute foundation of all that. He's the base everything else is built on. Losing him now would be catastrophic for everything they want to achieve. Selling your star man when you're on the rise is the definition of shooting yourself in the foot. Newcastle need to do whatever it takes to convince him to stay. Show him his wildest dreams are going to come true right here in the Northeast, not in a Juventus side that's still in crisis mode. But here's the one thing that could flip the whole script: the lad himself. This is going to be absolutely gripping viewing. Will Tonali actually push for the move? At 25, the thought of going back home to Italy could be massive for him. He's proved everything he possibly could in the Premier League. Nobody's questioning him anymore. But Italy is home, it's family, it's the language, the culture. That pull could easily be stronger than what Newcastle are offering on the pitch. And that's the key point. If Sandro himself wants to leave, Newcastle are going to struggle big time to keep him sweet. If he's happy where he is, Juventus can wave their 100 million about all they like, they're getting nowhere. Enzo Maresca has officially departed as Chelsea head coach, and this isn't simply another managerial change, it's the culmination of a breakdown that everyone could see coming, where the relationship between manager and ownership had been completely destroyed. Only a short while ago, it appeared the Italian still had some goodwill left, that he would be given proper time to complete the rebuild, but evidently the owner's patience finally ran out. And it did so spectacularly. The issue went far beyond tactical decisions during matches that, to put it mildly, had been irritating the board immensely. The real flashpoint that became unbearable was Maresca's conduct away from the pitch. Everything began spiraling immediately after the victory against Everton on 13 December. A win should bring joy, yet Maresca came out with this deeply strange and, frankly, alarming comment about experiencing his worst 48 hours at the club. Think about that context. He wins the game but speaks publicly about living through a nightmare. Even before that match, he had claimed many people were not supporting him, which left the leadership both confused and furious. These odd public statements kept coming, gradually revealing that the manager was fundamentally unhappy with core elements of the project, yet stubbornly refused to explain what exactly was wrong. Sources close to the situation insist the heart of the conflict was medical. Maresca wanted the authority to overrule the medical department's strict load management guidelines for key players. Quick pause. Please hit like or dislike. Every single reaction really helps the channel grow. Thank you. Genuinely appreciated. At Chelsea, there is now an uncompromising rotation policy, specifically to prevent injuries. The sporting management made it absolutely clear. You do not second-guess the doctors when player health is at stake. The most obvious case is Cole Palmer. He has been carrying a chronic groin problem all season and physically cannot cope with 3 full matches in a week. Yet the club believed there were several occasions when Maresca ignored those restrictions entirely, putting the team's star man at risk for short-term gain. The rumors only made matters worse. The ownership strongly disliked seeing Maresca's name repeatedly linked with Manchester City as Pep Guardiola's possible successor, while at the same time, stories circulated about Juventus interest. It was said the Italian wanted significantly more control, but Chelsea had no intention of dismantling their structure built on excellent recruitment and youth development just for one manager. Even his request for a new centre-back after Levi Colwill's injury was ignored, a very clear signal. Ultimately, the club concluded that the manager's toxic behavior was poisoning the dressing room and the results. Just take in these statistics. Chelsea have dropped 15 points this season from winning positions, 13 of those at Stamford Bridge. The lowest point was the deafening boos after the 2-2 draw with Bournemouth and the farce that followed. Maresca claimed he felt too bad to attend the press conference and sent assistant Willy Caballero to face the media. It later emerged this was deliberate. He simply refused to speak. He lasted 18 months, said his goodbyes to the players, and left. Chelsea are now searching for their 5th permanent manager under Todd Boehly, and the leading candidate mentioned is Liam Rosenior from Strasbourg. Frankly, it's difficult to believe things deteriorated this quickly, and that the man who will supposedly rescue a Premier League giant is coming from the sister club. It looks as though João Cancelo is packing his suitcase once more, and his Saudi adventure is reaching its conclusion. Barcelona have hit panic stations. Andreas Christensen's unexpected injury has thrown all of Hansi Flick's plans into chaos, and the club are frantically searching for a solution. But who is ready to swoop in and steal the Portuguese at the airport steps? Spoiler: the black and blue side from Milan. Let's go through the facts. The Camp Nou treatment room is overflowing, and losing Christensen is a serious blow to the season's blueprint. Initially, Deco and the hierarchy wanted a specialist center-back. But have you seen this January market? Tumbleweed. Finding a quality defender for reasonable money is simply impossible. Pure utopia. According to Fabrizio Romano, João Cancelo has grown bored in Saudi Arabia. He's dropped out of the Al Hilal picture, lost motivation, and a return to Europe is only a question of time. Barcelona have already made contact, sounded things out, but Inter Milan have stormed into the race with both feet. The Nerazzurri are acting decisively and without delay. They have already submitted an official loan inquiry. They need a top fullback immediately. Juventus are monitoring too, but still keeping their distance. You'll ask, why does Flick want Cancelo's chaos on the flank again? The answer is pure tactics and cold calculation. First, Cancelo is the ultimate versatile player. He can cover the left side, create real competition for Balde, or the right. Second, and this is crucial, João's arrival frees up Jules Koundé for Hansi Flick. The Frenchman can finally leave the right-back position he detests and return to center-back where he excels and feels comfortable. Koundé is a top-class center-half forced to play on the wing. Cancelo restores balance. In attack, the Portuguese offers an XG and ball progression boost that very few players in world football can match. He is perfect for Flick's vertical style. It sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? Bring back a top player, plug the gaps, until you crash into harsh financial reality. His salary. In Saudi Arabia, Cancelo earns an astronomical 18 million euros net. For the current Barcelona, with constant fair play and registration problems, it is absolute science fiction. The club simply cannot take on that wage bill. The entire operation depends on one fragile condition. Al Hilal must continue paying the vast majority of the salary while he plays in Europe. Otherwise, the deal collapses. What do we have in the end? Inter currently look clear favorites. They are more determined, more proactive, and Cancelo is their #1 target. Barcelona are in waiting mode, hoping for a miracle and Saudi cooperation. Ultimately, Cancelo is far too good to be wasting his prime on the bench or going through the motions in the Saudi Pro League. His market value has fallen to 10 million. Contract runs until 2027. It is the ideal loan opportunity to revive his career. But if Inter offer to cover even 30 to 40% of the wages, Barcelona will be left empty-handed. Trent Alexander-Arnold could be coming home. That's the actual headline Spanish outlet Defensa Central have gone with today. And straight away, I've got one massive question. Are we definitely living in the right timeline, or has the Matrix just glitched? Because it's not even been 6 months since he swaggered off to Madrid, and already there are proper, serious talks about a comeback. Not some distant, maybe one day chat either. We're talking right now. This January, window wide open. The harsh reality is it just hasn't happened for Trent at Real. The adaptation has stalled, the magic has vanished, and back in England, there's already a queue forming of clubs ready to rescue his career. And what a queue! Both Manchester clubs, United and City, are both ready to take him in. Imagine the betrayal levels for Liverpool fans. On top of that, Newcastle are in the race too. And to me, Newcastle actually feels the softest landing in terms of backlash, because Trent returning to the Premier League on its own is going to be absolutely mental for a lot of fans. But if you have to pick between the two Manchester Giants and the Magpies, Newcastle is the one that would cause the least explosion of hate on Anfield. Though honestly, I still can't picture Trent in black and white stripes, and in a United or City shirt, that's beyond the pale. Returning to Liverpool is obviously off the table for obvious reasons. Bridges well and truly torched. Trent has already dropped about $5 million in market value, but it still feels strangely polite, like they're giving him the maximum benefit of the doubt, even though in Madrid he looks a pale shadow of himself. Real are reportedly ready to let him go for 40 million euros, while his official value still sits at 70. You can argue all day about what market value really means, but 40 versus 70 is a pretty clear signal. He cost them basically nothing, some reports said, a symbolic 10 million. So if this is true, Florentino Perez's maths is simple. Buy for 10, sell 6 months after it's gone wrong for 40. That's still brilliant business however you look at it. Will any English club take him straight away? We can't forget he's been constantly injured lately, which is why the most logical move, without getting emotional, is a loan until the end of the season. Basically a test drive. Why not? But Trent himself will probably fight tooth and nail to avoid a humiliating return to England after just half a year. Totally understandable from a pride point of view. Problem is, it's not entirely up to him. He can dig his heels in and warm the bench in Madrid if he wants. But is it worth it? And here's the uncomfortable question that has to be asked. Maybe Real Madrid and La Liga just aren't his level, or simply not his league. Joan Laporta is properly obsessed with this mate. It's gone way beyond normal transfer interest. It's become his personal crusade. The Barcelona president has been chasing Bernardo Silva for years, and now he can finally see the finishing line. I totally get how Laporta feels. I've been chasing that exact same portion of the audience for years. The ones who watch every video, nod along, have a laugh, but absolutely refuse to hit subscribe. If Laporta isn't giving up, neither am I. Come on, smash that button and let's stop this cat and mouse nonsense. His big dream is to sign the Portuguese on a Bosman. Summer 2026, the contract with Manchester City runs out, and Laporta doesn't want to be just one of the clubs in the queue. He wants to be first in line and book the spot right now. Sport ES say contact with Silva's camp has already been made. The Barcelona president isn't prepared to sit around waiting for the weather to change. The plan is to jump ahead of everyone else and get the deal locked in as early as possible, so one of the most coveted midfielders on the planet lands at the club for absolutely €0 in compensation. Sounds like a pipe dream, doesn't it? For Laporta, it's a proper business plan. Now let's look at the situation in Manchester. The era of total City domination under Pep Guardiola was built on a few absolute titans, and Bernardo Silva is one of those pillars. Top-class consistency, year after year, season after season. But time waits for no one. Even the geniuses get older. The Portuguese is 30 now, and the big generational shift at City has already started. Some sources reckon the arrival of players like Antoine Semenyo could directly eat into Silva's minutes. Right now, the Portuguese is still far more important and versatile. But the direction is clear. City are starting to prepare for life after him. Guardiola would obviously love to keep Bernardo beyond his current deal. Players this clever don't grow on trees. But here's the problem. Pretty much every reliable source says the same thing. For several years now, Silva has been making it clear he's ready for a new challenge. He's had enough of rainy Manchester. Next summer is the perfect window for everyone involved. Who else is in the race? Benfica, of course, are showing interest. Your boyhood club always pulls at the heartstrings, back to your roots. Saudi Arabia, as usual, are ready to back the brinks with cash. For an experienced midfielder, that's a very comfortable financial option. But there's one club whose name has been linked with Silva for years: Barcelona. Bernardo has genuinely dreamed of pulling on the Blaugrana shirt for ages. Catalonia is an incredibly attractive place for him, both lifestyle-wise and football-wise. Deco has been keeping tabs on his compatriot for years. Silva's technical ability is out of this world. His vision is elite. Those are exactly the qualities that would let him become the real orchestrator in midfield, alongside Barca's young, hungry core. The winter window is open, and from this moment, the big game begins. Barcelona instantly become favorites to land the future signing. Laporta wants to get in first. Saudi millions, nostalgia for Benfica, all of that will take a backseat if the Catalans show persistence and get concrete before anyone else. And from everything we're hearing, they're absolutely deadly serious. The current state of play, Barca are right at the front of the queue, and Laporta has no intention of giving up his spot.